I say, whoa, now y'all should minds and them foul shot reporting on the Bamboozle Again News Network, where see, it looks like folk been bamboozled. But if you could have seen the writing on the wall, eventually it had to come to pass. Uh, I'm a little tired. Just got off, from the job or whatever. But while I was on my spare, I really wanted to cover this. I don't want to rush it because there's various layers and nuances to this. So through social media, some of my coworkers were talking about Trump, and I guess hadn't had time to really delve into it. The financial freeze on federal funds, grants, loans, whatever the case may be, right? And primarily, I seen a lot of black folk that I know, oh, that's what y'all wanted, and y'all coon Negroes, y'all voted, that's what you woo woo woo. Here's what you fail to realize, right? And I'm not defending, anybody vote for Trump, right? I'm just pointing out the elephant in the room here that everybody has been ducking for the longest, which, from what I understand, people like or congressmen, senators, whatever his designation is, like Rand Paul been saying since I stopped getting incarcerated, and that was over 17 years ago. His dad, Ron, and all that, like the Libertarians Party and all that. They're just kicking the can down the road. Eventually, this was going to have to happen. And I'll segue that into what goes on here in Maryland, right? In the healthcare related industries, mental health, substance treatment abuse, where people start these various, recovery homes with grant money and so on and so forth. Where in Maryland, we're and I talked about this in the previous video, we're experiencing a $3 billion budget shortfall. Even though when Hogan's Heroes, Republican president, was in there, we had a $3 billion surplus, right? So in 2 years, we, absorbed the $3 billion and now went backward, I think $2.7 billion, right? Here's why. And Trump said this about Elijah Cummings while he was still on Earth. When Elijah said something crazy to Trump, and Trump responded, well, what happens to all the federal grant money that goes past your desk? I don't know about anywhere else, but here in Maryland, grant writing, nonprofits are a hustle, especially the ones that say they help in some particular area. They'll get a grant for, let's say, $10,000 to, let's say, clean up the park. But then they'll get some ringers from somebody else they know from a treatment center, just have it be a part of their treatment, and they just pocket all the money, and then they might get a person a little kickback. You see what I'm saying? So I understand fully the freeze for the purpose of auditing and seeing where this money is going and this, that, and the third. I've talked about on here when I was in Baltimore, and I didn't find this out till 3-4 years later. I was allotted through what they call an MRM program. I was allotted like $5,000. I could have got my, for dental, bus passes, work clothes, training, schooling. I only got 500 of it. So I actually learned this through casual conversation with the homies. They brought it up. They got there for some reason. So I'm like, huh? I only got 500. But the people in charge of that particular department take trips out the country every other month on a rehab salary. In places like California, where I've seen that like their pension system, the state pension system is underfunded, which means you're owed, a pension whenever you retire, but they don't have the money to pay you, even though you paid into it. You see what I'm saying? America essentially, like insurance and so on and so forth, is basically a legalized Ponzi scheme. It has to crash at some point. But all is not lost. But I think here's where, like, let's say they do this in the 1930s. Okay. That's why they breaded people, into the cities, into, social services, and so to quench the ability for self-sufficiency. So if they say, I'm not going to give you something no more, now you're up in arms trying to figure out how are you going to do what you should be able to provide for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I was born in 82. Some of my earliest memories are of the late 80s, early 90s. Where I grew up in rural Maryland, we still had livestock. I don't remember going to the grocery store like nothing. I don't remember nobody going to the hospital like nothing. You see what I'm saying? And even in these industries, where they get all this grant money and this, that, and the third, and whatever the case may be, the clientele of the people that they service are they don't help them at all. And I'm saying this now. So, I started a new gig, and, it's through the county affiliated with the state of Maryland, right? So we get participants, as we call them, that now they get some type of funding to go into treatment, or treatment like sober living, whatever. I think it's 2 months, and then you can get a 30-day extension. So you got 90 days, right, before you have to start paying rent. But we're in a rural area, right? So the job market isn't as it would be in maybe, let's say, a more metropolitan area. But you can always go work at the chicken house, though. They'll always hire you. But everybody can't do that. But granted, if you're trying to get back on deck, you'll do whatever you gotta do, like how I did it. But anyway, so let's say, your plan, such as my experience, your plan ain't coming together. Let's say you've been using drugs, 15 years. You don't have a verifiable skill, gaps in employment. I ain't had no license. You know what I'm saying? I'm already understanding. It's going to be a hard road, and I'm going to have to think outside the box. But everybody don't think like that. Especially if your goal is to, like, get back on deck for superficial purposes. You see what I'm saying? Like, I used to ride a bike 45 minutes to get to work and pulled up there 45 minutes early, because that was my only shot with the opportunity I had to put my life together. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what nobody think. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of time, in this society, people ain't really like that, so they'll take shortcuts or they'll do slick stuff, whatever, which ultimately sets you behind once you get caught for doing slick, instead of just playing the game straight up. Well, but there's what I was going to cover. So let's say they plan on coming together, and it's about time to start paying rent. So they're charging these individuals $700 a month to share a room with 2 to 3 other people, on top of whatever they're billing their insurance, which is astronomical. And I said years ago, how can they justify paying this type of stuff for service? When the old, the sex club ring that I was working at, right, for a 30-day stay, they were charging insurance, I believe, $30,000 per client. That's some people's yearly salary, and you got 100 clients. But they do nothing for them. You know what I'm saying? Granted, it is your responsibility, but at least setting up some type of, parameters or outreach or whatever. And it almost seems like they breed recidivism almost in the jail system. Like, you go to jail, you got to rehabilitate yourself. Because if you bang on them do it, you probably go back. Because the only way, you're beneficial to them is if you're always dependent on them. So the clients are kind of stressed out about, I can't get a job. And they're basically saying, you better, better have my money. Now, these are the same people who then hold a group about compassion and understanding the plight of the next addict and so on and so forth. But as they rise up in the ranks, they forget how it was when they was coming up or trying to come alive in the drought. You see what I'm saying? Then the same people, it's almost the same as how they say, like, if you've been, or if you witnessed abuse when you were younger in the household, you're more prone to abuse when you get older. So then you get on deck, and then you use the same people who you once were for your own financial, whatever the case may be. But even though they've been trying, or, doing their due diligence, as I like to say, and their thing hasn't come together, you act like they don't know if you ain't got no money. So they'll either relapse or try to do something slick to come up with the money just to stay in a sober living house. But I'm trying to figure out, how can you justify in good faith charging somebody $700 a month rent to share a room with 2 to 3 other people? You see what I'm saying? So then what it does is it puts you in this tween space where, let's say you get a regular job, yeah, you can pay the rent, but you don't have a whole lot of leeway to, let's say, save or, for other things or whatever the case may be. But you're almost in that cusp where you're too far away to step out on your own if you're ready to do that. And this is what I'm saying here in Maryland. And I've been saying it. And that's what make me despise these folks. Like Tupac said, real Negroes turn to busters, bury me a G. Like, at one point, when, before, let's say, a year or two ago, they were advocating, they were fighting. Now they're looking to exploit for filthy lucre's sake. How that man saying, what's that, the Wolf of Wall Street, greed is good? Yeah, greed is good until it ain't good no more. And then because of the business model, let's say the funding is froze. I don't know how exactly it works. But you're so used to getting this funding, you don't know how to operate the business on its own merit unless the federal government is giving you the money. You see what I'm saying? But here's what I think, though, right? And I'm always looking for the silver lining, you know what I mean? They say ingenuity is bred out of necessity. So let's say they freeze food stamps. I don't know if they have, I don't know how that works, nor do I care. Because I've been prepping. I've been prepping since I was in treatment. Like I might do a survey off my phone that might last an hour, and they'll pay me with like a $50 Amazon gift card. And then I would go online and buy like them water jugs you see in like an office that you got turned upside down all heavy. I was buying that and shipping it to my mother house. I can't do nothing with it. I don't need nothing off Amazon. I've been buying water, purification tablets, and I've been buying packs of noodles and tuna and all that. You know what I'm saying? And again, because of the leisure and the entitlement of this society. I remember one time I was, dealing with a young lady. It was a snowstorm or something. They were like, we ain't got no food. So I walked in the kitchen, on the pantry, and I'm like, we ain't got no food. What's this? I don't want to eat that. Oh, like my mother told me when I was growing up. Oh, you just ain't hungry enough yet. Back in the day, where you had the cupboard with the canned goods in it, the black beans nobody ever eat, and a bag of brown rice, and them turkey necks that be at the bottom of the freezer. When you used to like store food and all that for the winter, see, bust that joint open, some biscuit mix. I bet you tight work and you ready to go to sleep, but we don't know nothing about that no more. Anything that inconveniences our way of life because we're attached to the matrix, we ready to lose our mind. And I think that's part of the play as well. I don't know if they'll do it, but let us just say it. Now say they do this and then they reinstitute it, we'll drop back and go back to where it was and not prepare practically in the little ways that you can. That's why I was so hard off on, because I already know what time it is. That's why I wanted to go the skill trade route outside of driving a truck, because I'm not necessarily the most industrious with my hands, right? But I said, well, sir, I'm in treatment trying to fix my life. Let me learn some stuff I feel I'll need in the future. That's why I went to solar school, because I'm figuring at some point they're going to hack the grid or blame it on somebody, however they do that. Or I don't want to pay no electric bill. So let me figure out how to create energy using the sun. That way I ain't got to worry about it. Again, foresight. You know what I'm saying? But again, here's how they lock it up here in Maryland. Even if like a new home build or whatever the case may be, to get the permit to build, you still have to have a BG&E water heater though. That's how they sew the game up as far as that goes. I think in Virginia it's different. But in Maryland, even if you want to go off the grid, you can't, because you can't get the permit to build unless you have a BG&E water heater. Just like how they mandate you drive a car, you have to have insurance, or you can't move it, or you face fines, penalties. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't tripping on none of it. It is a trip watching, again, entitled black folk, primarily I would assume of the Democratic Party. Basically, we should be happy. We should be happy, like Malcolm X and them. Like, we should want to do for ourselves. No, we'll get mad at the government because they'll say, we're not going to give you what's ours. Like, okay, say you're hungry, right? Again, ingenuity is bred out of necessity. And I told my partner this when we was living in Baltimore, right? So I said, for survival, the way your brain works, you'll start remembering stuff you didn't even know you remember. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, on this corner, it's 5 great big rocks, and I know them squirrels hang out over there. You seen it, but you wasn't constantly thinking that. Your subconscious was putting that in the file cabinet for a time such as this. I'm not saying it's going to get that bad, but it will get that bad at some point, because the word said it's going to get that bad. Again, for all the Democratic Negroes and, the mainstream black Christian church. It's in the Bible, but we're still fighting. It's no different than when we got out of Egypt and then wanted to go back to Egypt because we remembered the food and forgot the beat down. Any slight inconvenience, anything that gets us to step out of our comfort zone or how to adapt, it's how my man SRBG said, the white deer syndrome. Like a white deer, because it's white, can't survive in the wild. So it's always going to need protection. That's what they've societally done to Negroes. We cannot survive without the government or its rhetoric. Anything like, and I'm hell-bent, or I've faced frustrations, attempting to get self-sufficient in the area of skills, knowledge, so on and so forth. Like, I be looking at little content online. I don't get as much for some reason. Like these people, now I don't know how true it is if one man do it as fast as he say he do it. But how they take regular stuff out of the woods and build, a nice little, and the joint don't be makeshift neither. Like he done made a nice little table and shelf and a bench out the hard mud, and he can heat the joint, but it don't melt and all this here. Like, them skills to me, yo. You see what I'm saying? The ability to hunt, but like the old skills they had before America got modernized, before corporations came in, where it was family businesses, and everybody had to have a skill, and it's gonna force us, whether we want to or not, or perish, to work together. Instead of getting grant money to open up this particular recovery home, or how they used to do back in the day, brothers see a need in the community and they put their money together, like all the other communities do. But again, and I get it. And it makes sense and it don't at the same time in this this gospel of individualism, where you can't really trust Negroes of the world like that, so you got to do it because they done turned them into something else with no morals or standard operating procedure. But now, as we see, if they're going to cut all these various things, lay off people, fire people, for trimming the fat and all this here because it don't make financial sense, and a lot of times it don't. Go to the state of Maryland, try to get something done. Man, it's like, look, I'm technically a state employee, but tomorrow will make a week, and I'm still a pre-hire, even though I don't work 5 days already. How can they justify? Like when that COVID stuff and all that was happening, calling Maryland unemployment, you might be online 4 hours, because everybody was working home and they work when they feel like it, and the jobs are secure and all that. They didn't help us do it to ourselves. Even like I don't know how true that child support thing is, but we gotten so used to being able to do whatever, or the counterpart do whatever with child support with no accountability. You see what I'm saying? That even if they threaten or just say in the media that they're gonna change it, everybody lose their mind. So you mean tell me I can't get over no more? We're mad because we can't get over anymore. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've been buying seeds and things of that nature, because I seen the writing on the wall, regardless of Democrat, Republican, white, black. Said, I know what time it is. Let me tell it should have been cracked off. You know what I'm saying? I guess, but for the grace and mercy of the Most High and His long suffering, you know what I'm saying? And helping, well, I'll say me, bring it along spiritually, practically, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But again, so the one girl, she asked me at work, she was like, you worried? I'm like, no. And I'm a firm believer, if you don't know what to do, you should know what to do when the time comes. But going out here riding or going down City Hall and demanding they give you some stuff so you can take care of yourself. When y'all go watch the Super Bowl and get together and do that, why don't y'all have one of these conversations about how we're going to solidify our futures over a few brewskis? You know what I'm saying? Does that conversation ever happen? And if it do happen, is there, are any steps taken out of that? Or is that too much responsibility? Or you know what I'm saying? Like, what about your youngins? I mean, are you making any plans for them? You see what I'm saying? Because by the time retirement, all that, I think, me personally, just like I was wondering, okay, I'm in this, we got 2 or 3, chicken wing spots here, right? On, 24, well, not 24, but for 365 days, the grocery store, it sells chicken wings. Where are all the chickens to produce the chicken just for this town alone? Where is it being produced at? Is it even real? So with food stamps and, all these government Section 8 and all these government subsidies and a lot of corporate subsidies and so on and so forth, where are they getting all the money to do this? Outside of printing it up. You know what I think? I think they've been funding the government off the black budget with drug sales and drug deals. You know what I'm saying? Just like what was that Iran Contra, where they was getting the cocaine from what was that, Nicaragua, selling it over here and then using and then taking guns from over here and giving it to some other people that they wanted to affect some political change up in that joint? Or what was that operation when Obama was in office, where they got caught shipping guns down into Mexico, but told them don't pursue them no more? You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure the illegal stuff funds a whole lot of stuff to keep America afloat. Human trafficking, organ harvesting. You know what I'm talking about? It's not sustainable, and it's built on a faulty financial foundation. You know what I'm talking about? Granted, everybody's situation different, whatever. I bet you ain't gonna have no choice but to adjust or get left. That's just what it is. And this ain't no political rhetoric or I know what the hell going on. I'm telling you what's happening for. And for, everybody saying I'm crazy. Can't nobody say nothing I've been wrong about. It's just when you tell people the truth or what they'll need to do, they don't want to do it. Because it's going to require some greater level of responsibility, mentality, so on and so forth. Just like how they say this is Rome reloaded. They said Rome got so decadent, so leisure, and so gluttonous, they couldn't fight. You know what I'm saying? Not even so much physically fight. I'm talking about like fight spiritually, fight mentally, fight emotionally. I'm noticing like even in the air or the industry thereof where I'm at, like the old black man, like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and, like they used to tell you the story about how they used to walk, whether it's true or not, where they had to walk 20 miles in the snow just to go to school and all that. Somebody quit and say, man, I ain't working on McDonald's. What you mean? But these are same individuals who will tell you, yeah, I've been shooting heroin for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Using water out, you know what I'm saying, out the street. But then will tell you when they get a little bit of clean time, I ain't working at McDonald's and I don't eat that outside like pork or something religious. What you mean? But you just told me you used to shoot up using water out the toilet. But now you high and mighty. Man, F out of here, B. And these are the same individuals who are, and not just in that, everywhere. That's like me shucking and jiving over 25 years at best, if I want to be generous to myself, lived in mediocrity. And then I want to talk about what I'm is and ain't going to do to put my life together with whatever opportunity come down the pipe. That's why I did all right when I left the job, because it wasn't like, oh, I got a job and I just do whatever. I was using the job to fund it just didn't work, because I guess the Most High didn't want it to work. But I was able to operate because I had stacked money. I had bought gold and silver, you know what I'm saying? I had financial, resource at my disposal. And while I was working, I wasn't going hog hand spending. You know what I'm saying? I got my license, 2 months after not working, and bought a car 3 months after that. Well, 3 months after I left the job. So by the time they see me again without working, I'm on a different level. Because even if I ain't got no job, I don't find it burdensome working on me. That's how I discovered juicing through YouTube, juicing and fasting and, different mental constructs and different, you know what I'm saying? Because and not for ego purpose, because I deserve to treat me better. I deserve to level me up. Of course, most high time, of course. You know what I'm saying? This ain't for nobody else. This ain't the stunt in front or for people to like me, because I don't even care nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? I care about being able to like myself because I put in the work. I care about, I ain't do that correctly, let me adjust. Like, I ain't even real super wild about making a mistake, because if I make a mistake, I'll learn something I previously didn't know. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, I made a mistake, what are people going to think, or my ego. Best I'm mindful, I only operate in ego. If we about to see, ain't no ego if everybody's stomach on their back. How you proud and hungry? Pride coming before the fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean the word, but even like the epicenter of here, Babylon, it seemed like I used to wonder when I was younger, like, yo, main man just pulled this wild Willie stunt, but yet he proud of it. Or how do people who operate egregiously walk around with their chest out? Had I done that, I'd been like this here. I wouldn't be able to look nobody in the eye. You know what I'm saying? Because my conscience tearing me up. And I understand, like, that's one thing you can't get away from. Maybe that's why people kind of do the stuff they do as far as, like, I don't know. But typically when you by yourself, from my understanding, the way the Most High, your subconscious is supposed to tell you the truth about you. That's why I think people jump from person to person to person to person, because they want to quench that inner voice that's actually telling them the truth. Nobody wants to hear the truth. You know what I'm saying? So the truth is, when Trump shut this off, then we'll get mad. But it's actually for our benefit. Before we, like Martin Luther King, and they, deindustrialized the inner cities and so on, typically we lived in the raw. Now, we might not have had all the money in the world, but we knew how to feed ourselves. My uncle bought a plot of land beside my grandmother when he married my aunt and built his own house. He the only Negro I know that knew everything about everything. You see what I'm saying? Car, house. You see what I'm saying? And had no education. We got all this education, but can't do nothing for ourselves. Yo. I'm mad at myself that I'm not necessarily mechanically inclined. You know what I'm saying? I'm more the philosophical Negro. I'm more the visionary. And I guess there's a place for all type of people in a society or in a nation. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't want to pay no super inflated price because they feel like jacking up the housing market. I'm ready to go chop some wood out this junk, call my homeboy uncle who know how to, refine wood and all that, and I'm ready to just buy the land and build my house after I get off work during the summer months when it's still light outside and be done with it. And that way I ain't got to worry about paying somebody every 30 days. So when I feel like quitting a job because I don't agree with my principles, I don't care because I ain't going to be homeless because I built my own house. And I feel like a man, you know what I'm saying? Then eventually when I have a son, I can tell him these stories. Like when Fred Sanford told Lamont, oh, after he built the junkyard, been all of it. When I'm gone, all this is yours, son. You know what I mean? An inheritance. How you gonna build an inheritance on something when they give it to you and take it away whenever they feel like it? This is no different. Like almost like from the Democratic point of view rhetoric. That's almost like, you start out with a shawty and she give me all this loving and you know what I'm saying? It's super. And then out of nowhere, she just pulled back on you. Like, baby, but you got so used to all this love and, meals or whatever she did to put her fangs in you. Now you want chase mode. You want it to go back. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but you don't never know you're going to get it. It's what they call I just came across this term, the partial reward theory. It's the same theory as slot machine or they say love bombing. Like, or this happened to me when but I was never no gambler. But spiritually, this is what happened to me. My partner and them used to play blackjack. So I would go to the casino because they're the only place to sell alcohol after hours legally, right? So I start playing while I'm drunk. I think the first, 7 out of 10 times, I stung them up pretty decent. You know what I'm saying? Then all after that, I couldn't win to save my life. You know what I'm saying? Or, how they say when you love bomb somebody, you love bomb, and then you pull all the way back and get them chase you. Or the third, I think it's a mouse theory, where they got one mouse and he got the lever, hit the lever, food come out. Second mouse is the same action, but on the second mouse, it's more random. So he becomes addicted to pulling the lever because he just don't know when the food gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? It's the same principle. They run a organic societal test on folks. I think it'll go back after he, audit some stuff and do some whatever stuff and all that there. But this got to happen eventually. All Social Security and solving. They talked, a couple years ago, they were talking about, the post office was bankrupt. These are federal institutions. You know what I'm talking about? California broke, been broke. You know what I'm talking about? So eventually, why don't we? See, here's the thing. What do they call it? A normalcy bias. Just because something hasn't happened, even though the evidence is there, you still think it won't happen. Or if you an ego and your shawty coming in late and, her breast might baloney in all his head. Because you think you'd have done died. Even though all the evidence there, you refuse to believe what's going on is going on, even though the evidence there. But then, how they say, it's principles over personality. So we'll get mad at Donald Trump, right? And his personality. Totally forgetting all the financial principles that have been involved that have led us to this point for somebody to do it. And you can do it by choice or by force, but it's going to happen. Now, let's say hypothetically Kamala got in there and they just keep printing. You'd have woke up next day, you know what I'm saying? And bananas been $35 for one of them because they printed up so much money, the money valueless. They say that's what happened during the Weimar Republic in Germany, where the government just went printing up money and, you know what I'm saying? They said they would come around on armored trucks and just drop money off. There's a story in which the woman wheeled a wheelbarrow full of German currency to the coffee shop to sit there at a newspaper. Left the wheelbarrow outside. When she came out, the wheelbarrow was gone, but the money was on the ground. And on that note, I'm going to holler at y'all. One love, baby.